Bet you didn't think we were going to be talking about the CUSA today. All right, because we have, everything on the line here. Western Kentucky travels to Jacksonville State. Did you know Charles Kelly is coaching Jacksonville State right now in his first season?
Yeah,
Uh,
that Charles Kelly.
yeah, yeah. Shout out Charles Kelly. I mean, a guy you knew he was going to get talent in the door, right? You knew that he was going to. I mean, he's been in the state of Alabama for how many years? Like you knew that that was probably going to be a good spot for him. We've talked about him a lot of times. We made a video about him, a while back. He looks like he's doing pretty good right there. And you win. Either one of these teams win, and you get the opportunity to play Kennesaw State in the conference championship game. I love it here. I love it. You got Western Kentucky where it's like Tyson Helton. It doesn't matter who's freaking playing quarterback for him, right? Unless it's his nephew in a bowl game, right? But if it's his nephew in a bowl game, then you just get the opportunity to see Caden Veldkamp come out in the famous Toaster Bowl. Famous Toastery Bowl. I don't remember what the name of it's called, but that was an electric game. So Western Kentucky is 2.5 point favorites right here. They, when you watch them, are probably the best team in the CUSA from top to bottom. Really disappointing seasons from a couple CUSA conference opponents, including Liberty. I mean, what a brutal fall from grace for them, for a team that should never be out of the conversation for a championship based on the resources that they have and the money that they have. They should never be out of the conversation this time of year for the CUSA championship. But here we are. Here we are. CD, what do we like about this matchup here?
Yeah, well, first of all, you got a couple. You talked about the coaches and the importance. This is also a rematch. I don't know if you said this, a rematch of last year's Conference USA Championship. So of course there'll be some bad blood. Last year we saw Jacksonville State absolutely pummel Western Kentucky, and of course there's big time implications in this game as too. Jacksonville State will qualify to the conference championship with a win, right? And they would host the title game, or they need Kennesaw and Missouri State to both lose. And Western Kentucky essentially just needs a win. And then if Kennesaw State loses, then they would be the host of that game. It gets pretty tricky, I think, in terms of who they will be playing, but yada, yada, yada. The important thing is for both these teams, it's win and in. And that's exactly why we're previewing this game. For Jacksonville State, I think you have to start with Cam Cook and what he has done on the ground. A familiar name back at TCU, was an all Big 12 kind of guy there. He is no slouch. And then the quarterback, Caden Creel, the freshman from Fairhope, man, has been a revelation for this offense. Someone not named Gavin Wimsatt. I think we have seen that experiment happen too many times. No shade to the kid, but how many
Too
times?
many different places.
That's what I'm going to say. Like, how many times are we going to let this happen again? Wish him a lot of luck and success in his
Give him
life
Ryan
outside of.
Silverfield.
Oh wow, could you imagine? Yeah,
Give him Ryan Silverfield.
that's
See
not.
what happens.
If he's smart, he'd be calling Memphis or wherever Silverfield's going to end up at, and doing everything he can to get there. Creel has been fantastic. He's also dynamic on the ground as well. You think back to what they had last year with Huff and the stable of running backs they brought out. Did the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, so it's a lot of fun. And then for Western Kentucky, they've had some interesting things happen in the quarterback position for them as well. You had to replace, of course, Caden Veldkamp, who's overdoing great things with Zach Kitley and Florida Atlantic in the American Conference. And then you had Maverick McLevore, but he's been hurt. He's been banged up. And so you got the redshirt freshman Rodney Tisdale, who's done some nice things, especially on the ground in that Louisiana Tech game. He's thrown for 300 yards twice. Like, Tyson Helton's another guy that I know it was a little bit of like, okay, why isn't Veldkamp starting? Yada, yada, yada. It was like a little bit of that. And the TJ Finley experiment didn't work. But it's also like he's a guy that I think you just trust to get your quarterback right. In the G5, I think he's a guy that I think has earned my respect in like he's going to put people in spots to succeed. He's also nailed his offensive coordinator hires, it seems like, year in and year out. But this will be a great game here. I'll give you my pick before I shut up here. I'll take the home team here. The home dogs is what I love to see. Give me Jacksonville State plus 2.5. Send them back to the title game.
Yeah, I like that pick as well. I mean, get the ball on the ground and just run. We saw that Western Kentucky go against FIU, who both of these teams lost to, by the way.
Willie
I
Simmons,
mean,
man. Did we say that or not?
I
Did
mean,
we say
I'm
that
right
or
now
not?
penciling. I'm penciling in FIU as my CSA championship right now on November
Oh,
25th as we
he's
record
just getting
this for
started.
2026.
Dude, they had a hell of a recruiting class too, high school recruiting class just a year ago.
Yeah,
So wait for them to develop.
yeah, exactly. So I think that Western Kentucky knows what they have to do to win this football game. They knew what they had to do to win this football game last year in the CSA championship, and they didn't do it. But I believe that wasn't it this week last year? Western Kentucky won that game, and then they rematched, and then Jacksonville State blew the doors off of them in that game. So it is weird how like things could play out like that. But I just think that like this Jacksonville State, Caden Creel, Cam Cook on the ground are just going to be unstoppable. It's going to be 200 plus yards. Can you get enough stops on the defensive side of the ball? I don't love your secondary. I don't love that you're giving up explosive plays. I don't love your second level at all. But I just think that like you got one team that throws the ball pretty effectively but has a backup quarterback against a team that is not very effective against the pass. And then you got another team that's incredibly effective on the ground against a defense that's not very effective stopping the ground game. In a lot of games, you've seen it this year. Obviously, like LSU can't literally just can't run the football against anyone. Like at this point, if you can't run the ball against Western Kentucky, like what are we actually doing? LSU, like it is actually very embarrassing. But I mean, I know that FIU game was over a month ago, but it is still pretty scarred in my brain. And I just see this game playing out a little bit more like that potentially than a game like against Delaware where you were on the road and found a way. But that was with Maverick McIver, right? At quarterback, they're finding a way to win there and hold on in the fourth quarter from a storming Delaware Fighting Blue Hens team. But yeah, give me the Gamecocks plus 2.5, and give me them to win straight up at home to clinch themselves a conference championship game against Kennesaw State. Who would have thought? Like if both Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State win. I mean, two very new CUSA members that came in uh, within the last 3 years, and they're here at the top of the conference. I mean, it is very impressive. Both teams seems like they've got their coaching hires right. There's some really good coaches in the CUSA, CD, with the exception of like maybe Sonny Cumby and
Come on.
Derek
Come
Mason,
on.
who's not
Come
doing
on.
so well. Or Tony
Come
Sanchez,
on.
maybe. Although he's not doing terrible relative to some other coaches in the past there, but uh,
Jamie Chadwell.
yeah,
Jamie
it's
Chadwell needs to be on that list too.
yeah, Jamie Chadwell. You're not going to a bowl game at Liberty in this conference. Unbelievable.
Fireable
Actually
offense.
unbelievable.
I not that I want to get seem fired, but the other thing too, like the CUSA has done, the conference as a whole has done a great job pivoting when their conference got plucked by the American because the American got plucked by the Big 12 and that chain reaction that happened. And they've done a fantastic job by getting some teams from the FCS that are willing to compete and spend resource wise to win in the FBS level. And obviously it's easier to win now in the CUSA than it has been, maybe 6, 7, 10, 12, 15 years ago. But boy, oh boy, you talked about like they've done a hell of a job pivoting. Couldn't be more happy with how the CUSA is playing out this year.